Okay, so we're now resumed. And Anthea, do you want to introduce our next submitter, please?
Yes, so next we have Greg Hoare from Superliquor Holdings. He's submitter number 4703 on page 21 of your agenda.
Welcome, Mr. Hoare. Just wanting to let you know, as you know, you have 10 minutes. You've got a very clear submission, and thank you for that. And if you can allow time within your 10 minutes for questions, that would be very beneficial. Thank you. So feel free to start. When you're off mute would be a good idea.
Very embarrassed.
Oh, no. We'll take you starting from now. It's all right. Don't worry.
Thank you very much. Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to, make a submission on behalf of Superliquor Holdings and to be present today. It's always nice, I think, to be available also to answer any questions you may have. To my right here is Cam Locke. Cam's new to our business over the last 2 months, and he's the franchise manager that looks after your region. So I just thought it'd be nice for him to join us today as well. So I'm taking the submission, taking it as read, and I just thought, if you're okay, I would take you through probably some of the key points in the next couple of minutes, and then by all means feel free to ask me any questions you have. I thought, first of all, the structure from Anthea and SA was great. So the link I thought was really good, and hopefully I've presented a way that you wanted. Looking at, I suppose, some specifics, I won't cover any background. We are New Zealand's largest retail store network by sales volume with 176 stores. We are a business that basically is a franchise with a copper of culture. So 176 stores are owned by 109 franchisees, and we've got coverage from Kaitaia in the north to Invercargill in the south. However, in your district, we have one store in the Huntly area. As far as just putting a few things out of my submission, we look at the new license definition, and we're really happy with that because there has been some confusion in the past, not necessarily in your district, but at others. And we think what you've done there to clarify that, because one of our concerns is that if a business is sold and then an application is made for that same premise, that what we didn't want it to be seen as a new license, and therefore it had some adverse consequences by being seen as a new license. So I think what you've done there in the definition is very good, and we're really happy with that. Section 5.2.2, the restriction of bottle stores. We do have our concerns there, that we believe that it imposes restrictions on standalone bottle stores, but not in the same way as supermarkets, and also to licenses that are attached to a tavern or a hotel. What we do as Superliquor is we really support an open and competitive market. And what we really want with LAPs through the country is a level playing field. And we believe that restrictions like this will further consolidate the perceived duopoly that supermarkets have. And we think that what we'd love is with LAPs is that whatever is applied to off license is placed across the board. I suppose alcohol is alcohol, so we don't understand why there is restrictions made on standalone bottle stores when you could sell the same product with a bottle store that sits in a tavern or a supermarket selling products, but they don't have the same restrictions. So that's really just the point I'd like to make there. If we look at the 1K distance in that same piece, 1K distance would really ask you perhaps as a group to re-look at that definition. 1K can be taken as a driving distance, or it could be taken as a crow flight. And with the crow flies, obviously, it takes up a lot of area, and particularly in high density areas where convenience is a big thing for consumer these days, whether they're going to a supermarket or bottle store. A 1K can cap up a lot of areas. We just would love further clarification on that, whether it's by road or those type of things. However, we also would like to add that we don't believe that in the areas in the Waikato it is over licensed, and that's looking at the statistics provided, And we would like to highlight that there is actually no current standalone bottle stores in Tamaheri or Te Whara. And potentially with Te Whara, with you've got an area that's getting a lot of growth in housing. You've got new commercial players with the likes of the Sleepyhead Factory and those type of things. There's really nowhere to go to buy a premium scotch or those type of things at the moment in those areas. So we'd just love you to have a look at that as far as not allowing any future. It's almost putting a cap on those areas, and some of those areas, as I said, with Tamaheri and Te Whara, don't actually have a license at the moment on a standalone basis. The next section is just 5.4.1. Really the key thing here is that no issuing standalone bottle stores. And that's pretty much what I've just said. All we really want there is we're seeking a level playing field, and the terms adverse effects, we'd just love that terminology to be clearly defined. What is adverse effects? Because it can be seen by some people differently to others. And then the discretionary conditions was the last thing I'd like to comment on. We see those discretionary conditions being quite, not necessarily dangerous, but the interpretation by some can be applied differently to some license and not others. And we believe with this great opportunity with an LAP to actually, we would rather see if there's a product that you're concerned about to be actually placed in the LAP as everyone doesn't sell it or everyone can sell it, rather than the discretion left to perhaps an agency to actually not allow it in one, but a supermarket to be allowed to stock it. And we just think that's really unfair. So once again, all we ask there is that we'd like a level playing field on the kinds of products to be sold. And the other two areas of discretion that we'd like to make a comment on is the buy now, pay later. And as a business, we don't want a part of those formal things like lay-by and afterpay. We totally agree with that it should not be allowed. As a liquor stores with a supermarkets or ourselves, we shouldn't be involved in that type of formal thing. So we're on board with that. However, we just would love the council to look at, it can be taken if a buy now, pay later scheme, once again, afterpay, lay-by, no good. However, what is the difference between a credit card? What's the difference between a store having a trading account for the local accountant or panel beater down the road that wants to buy an account? So once again, I think it's just really clarifying that definition to ensure that people who want to have a wedding where they'll come along and buy product and then return it later, we just want to make sure those type of transactions are still legally allowed. So hopefully that makes sense. And then the remote sales is the last thing I'd like to comment on is, once again, the remote sales transaction. We think that's covered currently under the Section 59 of the Act. But one thing is probably would like to point out is that the delivery, for example, by a courier, we think is unreasonable. Those type of people are not trained in intoxication and those type of things. We're not sure if there's some challenges there in just what you suggested. So once again, we'd just like to highlight that point just so we could have a look at that and maybe clarify that a bit better, what we could actually do there. But we think that's probably a potential issue. And that's all from me. So as I say, a key thing for us is a level playing field. And now I just open to any questions you may have from me or my colleague.
Thank you very much. Councillor Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You're concerned with a level playing field, but supermarkets only sell wine, beer and cider. So is that a level playing field?
Yeah, one of the big things with the challenges we have there, for example, if I can use an instance recently in the Christchurch area, and I appreciate it's out of yours, but there was a condition that was trying to be imposed on a certain product of beer. And what that meant is that our bottle store Superliquor would have had to have that as a condition on the license, but over the road, the supermarket could sell it. So that's the type of thing. It's when you're talking about discretions and conditions on licenses, that type of thing we see would be anti-competitive and not fair.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Smith.
Interesting, mine's on the same point. And you talk about an equal playing field, and as Councillor Henderson rightly pointed out, beer, wine or mead is the only thing a supermarket or a grocery store can sell. All other products, spirits, wine, beer, even single sales are a concern within bottle stores, and the range of products that can be sold in a bottle store. So when you say you want a level playing field, I understand that if a product is sold in one place, it should be able to be sold in another if they're across the road. But when you actually talk about a level playing field, are you not asking for special treatment for bottle stores?
No, so only on those categories. For example, you are correct. So supermarkets can't sell premixed products or spirits. However, the challenge is that we've had councils, or sorry, not, yeah, I suppose agencies trying to impose conditions that we can't sell beer, for example, less than $6 and wine less than $20, which seems to be very unfair when a store over the road can sell it. So we're not asking any special conditions on certain things, but definitely around product range. When a competitor of the road can sell it and we can't, we just don't understand that.
So a supplementary question on that would be, ALA, the appeal authority, has allowed those conditions to be put in place on appeal. So and so there's guidance from the appeal authority to the council to allow those sort of conditions, or DLC to do that. So are you saying that ALA's got it wrong?
Yeah, I believe that when you're putting discretions on people's licenses, for example, if it's a legal product that's been sanctioned by the MPI, Ministry of Primary Industries, that it's a legal product in New Zealand, and yet in a community we can't sell it, but a supermarket can, we find that really unfair and anti-competitive.
I could have another one, but I don't want to hold the, thank you, Madam Chair. Over to you, whether you could allow another one.
We just think, sorry, Mr. Smith, if I could just explain that. I suppose, let's just say that you don't want to sell a certain product at a certain percentage, then we just find that hard, that it's put into discretion for us, but not a supermarket. So if the product is not right for the region, then it should be put in the LAP, so all parties can't sell that product. We sometimes probably feel as though we're the low-hanging fruit, that we don't have the high-powered lawyers and things that potentially supermarkets use. So it's easy to put a condition on us and not a supermarket. I
understand where you're coming from. The concern from a DLC perspective is probably the availability of single sales, and to restrict to comply with the Act and the object, which is to minimise harm. The single sales is an issue. So I'll leave it at that, Madam Chair. Thank you.
If I could just make, Madam Chair, if I could make one comment on that, probably research that I've done within the industry over the last couple of months is that by far supermarkets would be a lot cheaper than us on the majority of wine and beer products in store. So, and their range probably would be equal to ours.
Thank you.
Can I just ask you, Mr. Hall, for a small point of clarification on the comment that you raised on 1 kilometre?
Yes, I just wanted to
disagree with the distance.
Yeah, whether that was whether it was radius, diameter, or distance. So, for example, you know, sometimes if you put a kilometre distance or between, often it may be could be up to 2 kilometres on a road to get there, but as the crow flies, it might only be 1k. And obviously, to buy alcohol, you've either got to walk or drive a vehicle to get there. So, just wanted to clarify what that actually means.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. There appears to be no more questions, but I do thank you for your very full submission.
Councillor Church has one.
Oh, down the bottom. Okay, sorry, Councillor Church.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I guess it's that on the same lines as yourself. So if you have wanted to clarify around the 1 kilometre, so you're agreeable to the 1 kilometre just to clarify the measurement, or are you looking at making it shorter or longer?
No, so we don't agree put in a blanket approach of 1 kilometre. We think that every application needs to be judged on its merits. And, you know, if a supermarket's in an area that's only selling half the range, then we believe that we have the right to be there as well. So
you're saying that you would prefer it, okay, just on its merits and have no measurement about how close together outlets are. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, judged on its own merits, correct.
Thank you.
Right. We are indeed done. Thank you very much, Mr. Hall. Thank
Madam
you for
Chair
your
and team,
time.
thank you very much for the opportunity. I look forward to seeing your PLAB. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, Anthea, we have a little gap, but we're expecting Finn Jackson from Raglan Community Board. Is that correct?
Finn Jackson, he's just an individual. He isn't available till 9:50, but he will be here in 10 minutes.
He'll be here. Okay. So again, Grace, please